Hi guys, and welcome to another sit-down video. As some of you may know, 2.5 years ago I moved to Germany, and in a couple days I am moving to the Netherlands. So I'm wrapping up on my living in Germany content, which is quite bittersweet, and I thought that I would just sit down today and have this podcast type dynamic where I'm just talking. I just want to do a little recap on the time I've spent here because it has really been the most amazing and transformative years of my life. So let's just get into it. So I moved here when I was 14 and I'm 17 now, which are just big transformational years for anyone. And then on top of that, there was COVID, which is creating a lot of change. And in my case, moving to another continent. So basically put that change, growth, transformation on like rapid speed in these past couple of years, which I think has shown through in my content. These somewhat uncomfortable, anxiety-provoking experiences forced me to grow, which wasn't always the most fun process, but always had very cool outcomes. After feeling so consistent in Colorado, which is where I'm from my daily routines to the people that I surround myself with, my personality, likes and dislikes, my physical appearance and style, everything was just pretty straightforward and not much room for change. And then to go to a place where like every day really does feel like an adventure and I'm forced to learn and grow along the way was a big change. It was overwhelming and a lot to get used to at first, but it's so cool now. Even after 2.5 years. So much that I'm still discovering and learning, both about myself, about my surroundings, about my friends. The growth that I experienced because of living in Germany gave me confidence. It made me love myself, but also like myself, if that makes sense. Yeah, I care about myself and I want good things and I want to be surrounded with good people and I want a bright, happy future. That's like self-love. But I'm also like, wow, I'm pretty cool. I think I'm quite a good friend. And I'm so lucky to have the people in my life that I do have, but I also feel like they're lucky to have me, which I'm not trying to sound narcissistic. I don't think it is narcissistic, but that's been a huge factor because before coming here, I didn't have any confidence, and now to really like who I am, to care and love myself is really cool. Yeah, I wish it for everyone. So this confidence allowed me to explore a lot of different parts of myself. I developed my style. I changed my physical appearance a lot from jewelry. I started wearing jewelry. I dyed my hair bright red a year ago. And then it was like orangey yellow when I was trying to get the red dye out, which I liked then. Not sure how I feel about it now. I have a mullet now, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but it would have been. I explored new hobbies and coming to terms with former insecurities like my sexuality. And a lot of this was thanks to the amazing friends that I have here. And because of the confidence that they've helped me obtain, I can now go out and create other amazing connections. It's like a snowball effect. Once you get on that road to good vibes and happiness, it's like you just put the car on auto drive. Is that a good metaphor? I don't think that, does that make sense? Yeah? It's a snowball effect. That's a better metaphor. In case I haven't mentioned it 60 times in this video already, before moving here I was in northern Colorado. I don't know if you guys have been to northern Colorado, but we got mountains. The mountains are very pretty. We have Whole Foods, which is also fun. We have like a Dutch Bros on every single street. And I'm not trying to be over here like shitting on America and shitting on my hometown, but I think that a lot of people are just living the same life. There's some differentiation, there's some anomalies, but the majority is very similar. I shouldn't say the same. So I went to a huge middle school full of similar people, like 1,000 kids, and in that school I feel like amongst the students, differences were criticized very strongly. Mostly because they were so noticeable as well. Because if everyone's super similar, if there's any little quirk about someone or something that's slightly outside a very strict box that you have to fit into, it's noticeable and it's picked on. Now to go from a huge school where everyone's living more or less the same life to go to a tiny school, like 200 kids K through 12, but with so much differentiation and diversity was awesome. It was so cool, oh my god. I'm so grateful for that aspect of this. Now I don't go to a German school, I should say I went to an international school, meaning everyone's from everywhere. So those differentiations aren't so noticeable anymore. And since no one's really living the same life and no one really comes from the same background, those differences are celebrated or encouraged or just treated casually. Because of this, I learned so much about different cultures, different viewpoints and opinions, different ways of life, music, clothing, parts of the world, which just like made my little American head just explode. It was like a movie going from so much consistency and all of a sudden it just like blowing up, but in the best way. I just felt like I was overwhelmed with just a lot to learn. I feel I learned so much here, and I still continue to learn from my friends, from seeing how my family reacts to certain things, seeing how German culture influences certain things that I'm not used to. Conversations that we'll have in class at school, my teachers, where they're from, my peers, where they're from, and what they all bring to the table. I understand that I'm coming from a huge, huge place of privilege by saying this, but I wish that everyone could have this experience, I really do. And it's not specific to this spot in Germany, it's just when you live inside of a bubble, and majority of the people you know are also living inside of that bubble and have been for an extended amount of time, you fall into routines. Not to say the routines are bad, but I feel like if you think the same way as everyone around you and you have very, very similar experiences and backgrounds, then you're not as challenged. But when you're inside this bubble for an extended amount of time and the majority of the people you know are also living in that bubble, it's a very cool and very eye-opening experience to get put into just such a different place. Even if the people there are living inside of a bubble, because you're challenged. And both in ways like, great, we've just gotten to our new apartment after a 10-hour flight and the shower head is broken and only spews out hot boiling water. Also, your thoughts are challenged. Your beliefs are challenged. Your routines are challenged. I feel that I have to think a lot more when I'm here. At least at the start, I had to kind of question everything that was pre-existing in my head, and about myself, and about what I liked, and about who I liked to be with, and about what I thought a good friend was versus what I thought a bad friend was, and what I thought was good and what was bad, and what I thought was right and what was wrong. And it's because I was in this community of so many different viewpoints, opinions, thoughts, routines, that by nature, by witnessing those and experiencing those from my friends and my peers and my teachers, I questioned my own, and I thought, well, wait, what if they have that part figured out? Or they really made a good point about this thing that I thought this about, but they thought this about, and I actually kind of agree with this. And that's the part that I want everyone to be able to experience. If you've grown up in this town in southern Germany, then you could go to the States and maybe that could be your super big eye-opening experience, you know? I've really liked learning about German culture. I made a German culture shocks video a couple days ago, and I think that that's a fun one to check out. But even little things that I learned, I come to like a lot of the little quirks about German culture. One of which is hausschuhe. You guys know Birkenstocks. So Birkenstocks, I feel, or at least when I left my hometown, were quite trendy, right? They were like a cool sandal. Oh, you got Birkenstocks? You got Birks? Yeah, you're cool. Well, it is a German brand, and so I get here and I see them everywhere, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna cop me a pair of Birkenstocks, and I'm gonna be one of the cool kids. And within one of the first couple weeks at my school, and although it is an international school, there's, you know, a good number of Germans in my class. Anyway, so I come in, I'm wearing my Birkenstocks, feeling like a baddie, and this German kid in my class comes up to me and he goes, why are you wearing hausschuhe in school? And I was like, heh? Like, what's a hausschuhe? And he's like, no, Birkenstocks you wear in your house. And I'm like, what's the point of wearing these in my house? Like, they're cool, right? I want to go show them off. And he's like, they're just Birkenstocks. Like, why are you wearing house shoes at school? So this idea of house shoe is like a slipper that you wear around your house, which has come in handy because these hardwood floors, I mean, the dust everywhere. But yeah, now I wear my Birkenstocks around my little apartment and I love it. You know, you live and you learn, big and small things, and although I've been challenged in my belief system and the way that I see the world, I've also been like, yo, now I can wear house shoes, something I wouldn't have learned if I stayed in the States. Back to a more meaningful topic, this has really developed my interest in different cultures and languages. When I go travel, or even when I'm here, I do my best to immerse myself in the culture and not act like I'm just, you know, walking into some other country as if I, you know, own the place and like disregarding their culture. And, you know, I just try and be mindful that they have another language here and I should try my best to speak it, which my German friends are probably like, yeah, right, well, we know my German isn't so good. German's hard, but we're working on it, okay? Okay. I don't want this to come off as me just like bashing the States for, you know, minutes on end, but I do feel like I resonate more with the ways that they teach history, geography, the whole social studies thing here. I feel like in the US it's very US oriented, and learning about US history and US geography. Like 2.5 years ago, I could have told you this every single state and its capital in the US, and probably a couple other cities within there, but I couldn't have named a, you know, majority of the country. Oh. But yeah, I couldn't have told you, you know, majority of the countries, and I definitely couldn't have put them on a map. I like that I'm now more aware of like geography and culture on a global scale rather than just like within any one country. And it's really had an impact on my plans for the future. And, you know, learning about how much there is out there in this planet, I'm like, why the hell would I ever want to stay in just 1 or 2 places for the rest of my life? Like, I want to see as much as I can before I'm out of here. But yeah, during our time here, we've mostly traveled within Europe, and I've learned so much just from that. Just from all the culture and language and food and architecture and just all the diversity within one continent. And I'm like, there's freaking 7 of these, and Europe's like, what, is it the smallest one? Maybe Australia? Who knows? But think about like Asia. It's just massive. Like, come on. There's so much to see, and there's so much that you can learn from all that it's like what, I'm gonna go settle down in one place? That's something that I'm not interested in. And everyone wants something different, but this has really reshaped my view and my plans and my hopes, wants, desires. Man, I don't think I've ever heard a footstep from this person. I don't think I've ever heard any noise from the apartment above me. And of course, I sit down to film a video. They're over here like, what is that, a drill? What you drilling in there? I think that there's so much I could say about specifics and people and individual experiences, but it's really the feeling. And it's not an overwhelming feeling where it's so noticeable, and that's why I feel I sometimes take it for granted. I think I'm just at peace and content and happy with my life here and my people here and myself here. I just think about how everything that I've experienced in the past 2.5 years is a product of moving here and the changes I've experienced within that, and if I hadn't have come here, then none of that would have happened. Okay. At the end of the day, this place gave me confidence and happiness, and as stereotypical and cliche as it sounds, self-love, dude, which has led me to so many more experiences. I'm not gonna lie, I mean, I really struggled through middle school. And I felt very, very alone at certain points. Part of that, I'm sure, is middle school culture. Part of that was the people and how they made me feel and how I reacted to it. I mean, I'm a very emotional person and I know that, but still, people shouldn't be making you feel that way. And the people here don't. I mean, majority of them. You know, 99%. There's always gonna be that anomaly. Pain in the ass. So I posted a little questionnaire on my Instagram story asking if you guys had any questions about my time here. And there's some pretty good ones, so I think I'll just take a couple minutes to answer a few. What was your reaction when your parents told you that you were moving? I'm really glad that you asked this question. I was gonna talk about it, but I forgot to write it down. It was so bad. I remember, I mean, we were sitting at the table one night at dinner. My dad was the one who actually said it, and he said it in quite a compassionate way, because it wasn't like, we're moving, deal with it. It was like, we got this opportunity, we think it's gonna be fun, but we wanna, you know, hear what you guys think before we say yes to anything. So first of all, I'm grateful he took that approach. Well, even though he probably didn't feel that I was grateful in the moment, I freaked the hell out. I was like, that was, at the time, the most terrifying thing I'd ever heard. There were a lot of reasons. Been in the same place for 13 years. Didn't know really anything about the world, but one of the countries that we did learn about in our US history class was Germany, and you know, didn't necessarily learn all the good stuff. I just had so little knowledge, and I was I don't think I was even really happy in that bubble. I told you guys I was struggling. I just think that I was very vulnerable. I knew how things worked in my little bubble. Anyway, after a lot of conversations with my parents over the next couple days, because we only had so long to decide, I came to terms with the decision. I wasn't excited until I actually came to visit, and then I was super stoked. But yeah, my parents almost said no. They almost turned it down because of how I reacted, and I think about what would have happened if they would have said no. It scares me. Which leads me to the next question. How are you feeling about moving? And another one that says, would you say it's easy to leave Germany? It's sad to think about leaving here. Certain parts really bum me out. But I've had a lot of practice at getting ready, because we were originally just gonna come for a year, which would have been summer 2020. So we were supposed to go home then, and I didn't. We extended till winter 2020, and then when winter 2020 came along, we extended till summer 2021, and then we were like, okay, all right, we're going home summer 2021. And then summer 2021 comes along, and we extend till now, and we're not even moving back to the States, we're going to the Netherlands. So I've had some time to prepare. Having the mindset that all of this was so temporary has been something I've actually been quite grateful for. I thought I was only gonna come for a year, so I spent that year living every day like, you know, if not now, when? I might not have this opportunity a year from now. And then increasing our time in those little 6-month increments was almost even more beneficial, because then I'm just thinking like, yeah, I gotta live it to the fullest, gotta not take anything for granted, don't take advantage of anything, say yes to things, push yourself out of your comfort zone, because before you know it, you're gonna be back to what it used to be. Little did I know we would end up staying 1.5 years longer than I thought, but... And then the reason why I don't think it's hard to move. I mean, yeah, think about if I wouldn't have come here. I wouldn't have had any of these experiences, and I'm sure a year from now I'll be thinking, God, imagine if I never came to the Netherlands, like, I would have never met all these people and had all these experiences. It's sad to think about, so I'm just so excited for more of it. If that will be anything like this was, even a fraction of it, I'll be so happy. I also said earlier, these anxiety-provoking experiences forced me to grow. Well, not only did we change our moving plans like 4 different times, we were stuck in the States for 3 months during the first quarantine, and I was, you know, away from here, living back in my hometown. Then we almost like stayed again. Then it happened again in January 2021. We were supposed to go back for a week, and we're there for like 2 months. And then we came back here to Germany a few weeks ago to move to the Netherlands on January 7th, and then tested positive for COVID on January 5th. So we had to change our whole moving plans again. So, but at this point, I'm just like, get me the hell out of here. Like, come on, like, let's go. No, but I think that all the change and all the adversity has made me much more relaxed. My camera battery is flashing at me, so I'm gonna make this the last question. Is the place you live in at this moment really your home or not? I love that question. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, as I just said, we've been here, we've been back in the States, we've been traveling. We thought we were gonna move to Munich, then we were moving to the Netherlands, so we visited the Netherlands, and then we're back here, and then we were supposed to move, and then COVID. I mean, I don't really feel the need to have a home base. I think that that's really made me more relaxed about that as well, but this has felt like more of a home than my old town did. And I think it's just because I resonate with it more. I don't think there's anything wrong or better, because it's relative to everyone's, you know, view and opinion and what they want in life. But this is what I want. I just want to be surrounded by happiness and good vibes and have people that I can really count on and be myself around. I couldn't really be myself around anyone in the US because I didn't know myself. And I don't think I felt like I was allowed to explore who I was because either I was being told who I was being told who I needed to be, or I was being made fun of for expressing different parts of myself, which was pretty consistent throughout middle school. And yeah, now I know myself, I like myself, and I can be myself around all my friends here, which is so special. I'm really grateful for all of it, like all the ups and downs and everything, because it's all led to where I am now, which sounds cliche, but it's so true. So happy with my life, and it's thanks to everything I've experienced here, and I'm just so lucky. I really am. From the people that I've met, to the school that I went to the place that I live, like quite literally the place that I live, the town that I live in, I just really scored big time, and I'm gonna miss it so much, but there's so much to look forward to, and I can't wait to take you guys with me. Much love before I cry over here, and yeah, look forward to Netherlands content from here on out. Bye guys.